Why would anyone think they could throw a massive barbecue on my ranch without asking in live to tell the tale? I'm Sarah Thompson, and my 2,000-acre spread sits a good 2 miles outside Willow Creek, where the only neighbors are coyotes and my herd of 24 bison. So, you can imagine my shock when I rolled back from a grueling bison conference, bone-tired after a 14-hour drive, to find a mariachi band blaring, a bounce house wobbling by my water trough, and the smell of brisket wafting through the air. At the center of it all was Greg Larson, the HOA president, flipping burgers like he owned the place, his Bluetooth speaker pumping out pit bulls so loud it could wake a coma patient. This wasn't a party. This was an invasion. I slammed my truck door, my dog Rusty barking like he sensed war brewing. The scene was pure chaos. 80 strangers double-dipping chips, kids in superhero costumes climbing my fence, and a banner flapping in the breeze that read, "Spring Sizzle, sponsored by Pinewood Estates HOA." Greg, in his cargo shorts and grill master apron, spotted me stomping toward him. His sunglasses glinted as he grinned like he'd just won a raffle. "Sarah, you're here!" he chirped, flipping a sausage. "Thought you were gone till Monday. Bison mating season, right?" "Mating season?" I said, voice flat as the prairie. "Yeah, Greg. Which means 24 hormonal bison are itching to run, and you've parked your circus right in their path." He chuckled, brushing off my words like I was joking. "Oh, Sarah, it's just a friendly HOA bash. The rec center was too small, and technically, we're on the green belt." I blinked. "Green belt? This is my ranch, Greg. Private property. See that sign? Trespassers will be gored. Ring a bell?" He smirked, waving a spatula. "There was some boundary ambiguity. The HOA passed a variance. Check your mail sent you a notice." I nearly choked. "You mailed me a notice to steal my land for a hot dog fest?" His grin widened. "Not stealing. Sharing." Before I could lunge, a drone buzzed overhead, dropping coupons for solar panels. A kid tried to eat one. An inflatable unicorn nearly skewered my weather vane. I backed off, not to calm down, but to plan. My neighbor, Clara Hayes, met me at the porch, her floral dress billowing as she handed me a mason jar of moonshine strong enough to strip paint. "Saw the invasion," she said, smirking. "Want me to unleash my skunks?" Tempting, but I had a better idea. "Clara, it's time for Brutus." Brutus, my 2,200-pound bison, was the herd's king, part tank, part grudge holder. He could smell trespassers from a mile away. Clara raised an eyebrow. "Brutus and his 23 buddies?" I nodded, sipping the firewater. We sat on the porch, watching Greg's wife, Megan, butcher, sweet Caroline, on a karaoke machine while a kid rode my lawnmower like a bull. My blood boiled. "How do you throw a party on someone's land and think you're the good guy?" I muttered. Clara leaned back. "Because the HOA thinks it's God." That was it. Time for DVY any intervention. I grabbed my phone, linked to the livestock gate I'd rigged after a coyote scare. One tap, and the herd would charge. But I wanted drama. I climbed the barn roof, hooked up my old stereo, and cued Ride of the Valkyries. If I was unleashing bison on a suburban barbecue, it needed a soundtrack. I hit the gate button. From the hills came thunder, 24 bison, Brutus at the helm, hooves drumming, dust swirling like a storm. The crowd froze. A woman dropped her margarita. A guy fell into a kiddie pool. The bounce house popped like a balloon. Greg, burger in hand, watched his empire crumble as Brutus snorted, staring him down before sneezing on his khakis. Tables flipped, coolers spilled, a bison licked the karaoke mic, someone screamed, "Save the brisket!" before face planting in baked beans. I sipped Clara's moonshine and whispered, "Welcome to my green belt." Clara nodded from the porch. "The bison giveth, the bison taketh away." But I knew Greg wouldn't quit. Sure enough, 24 hours later, he was back with a caravan of minivans, a neck brace for sympathy, and laminated signs screaming, "Unity over utter." They called it a Community continuation gathering. To dodge the livestock interference excuse. Megan was on the phone, demanding gluten-free food trucks and 2 bounce houses. I screamed into a burlap sack in the barn. Clara showed up with walkie-talkies and a clipboard. Operation Stampede worked, she said, grinning. But we need to go bigger. I took a radio. I want them gone for good. Clara flipped her clipboard. Their online calendar says they're hosting a silent disco at dusk. Motion-triggered party lights, raffle for a stolen pressure washer. Greg's begging for sabotage. I spent hours prepping, drone for surveillance, GoPro and Brutus for laughs, gate system checked. The bison were fed, groomed, and ready for round 2. As dusk fell, the silent disco kicked off, glowing headphones, dancers swaying like neon zombies. Greg waved glow sticks like a rave lord. At 8:37 p.m., I blasted Ride of the Valkyries from speakers hidden in hay bales. The dancers froze. Then I flipped on floodlights, turning the field into a prison yard. Chaos erupted. A kid wailed, a flamingo inflatable soared, and I opened the gate. Brutus led a slow, majestic march, not a stampede, like a king inspecting peasants. A woman dropped her kombucha. A guy fainted into hummus. Greg grabbed a megaphone, yelling, "Stay calm! We have contingencies!" Brutus sneezed into it, the feedback scattering the crowd. Clara cackled over the walkie. "Better than my laxative muffin prank." The bison herded the intruders out, gentle but firm, like bouncers at a bad club. Greg, stuffing raffle tickets in his pockets, tried to save the snow cone machine, while Megan fled in their SUV. When the last car peeled out, I shut the gate, killed the lights, and clinked drinks with Clara. "Think they'll try again?" she asked. "Maybe," I said. "But it won't end well." The next morning, an orange HOA complaint was taped to my mailbox, whining about bison-induced trauma, and threatening a lawsuit. They even photoshopped Brutus chomping a lawn chair. I laughed, then saw the fine print. They were suing for easement violations and endangerment. Classic Greg gaslighting, but with lawyers. I called my cousin, Emma, a ruthless environmental attorney. "Please tell me this is HOA nonsense, not another cow fireworks fiasco," she said. "HOA," I replied. "They're suing over bison trauma." She paused. "I'm there in 24 hours. Don't touch anything, and keep the herd leashed." I, Brutus, chewing a stray garden gnome. "No promises." In court, the air reeked of lemon polish and despair. Emma, in her patched blazer, shredded Greg's case, pro-vying my land's private status with 50-year-old records and a county surveyor's statement. Greg's PowerPoint. Sarah's reign of terror was a Comic Sans mess, claiming large animal proximity stress. His doorbell cam footage of Brutus's herd looked like a nature doc, not a crime scene. Emma whispered, "They made your bison look epic." Witnesses were a snooze-lost flip-flops, a poodle's nightmares, until Clara took the stand with a poster of Brutus. "He's a gentleman," she said, flashing her PhD in environmental law. "Greg's the trespasser." Greg's face paled. Then Emma dropped the bomb, emails from Greg to a developer, plotting to annex my land for a Pinewood Wellness Retreat. Clara had found them in an HOA cloud folder, password Golfbro 123. The courtroom gasped. The judge, after 15 minutes, ruled for me, froze the HOA's operations, and told Greg to get a hobby. Megan muttered, "Should have stuck to book club." Outside, reporters swarmed. Brutus in a party hat had gone viral, the bison justice trending. I let him pose for photos, earned it. That night, Emma popped champagne, Clara brought pie, and Deputy Tom dropped donuts, saying Greg's latest complaint got laughed out. My ranch was peaceful again, bison grazing under starlight. But the win wasn't just mine. It was for every rancher, every landowner, anyone who'd faced an HOA tyrant with a clipboard and a god complex. A month later, the ranch hummed with calm. Greg was demoted to HOA Waste Committee, his barbecue shamed on local news as the brisket blunder. I didn't gloat much. But the VY Deo sparked something. A Montana Bison group offered to fund Bison Fest, on my land, a conservation event. I said yes. Clara ran logistics, Tom parked cars, and the town rallied. Kids petted Brutus, adults learned land rights, and no glow sticks appeared. Emma gifted me a framed photo of Brutus at court captioned, "Let the record show." Locals came not just for Bison, but to cheer the defeat of HOA overreach. Then I saw Greg in the parking lot, hands in pockets, no clipboard. I walked over. "Sarah," he said, deflated. "Good event. Better than ours." I raised an eyebrow. "Compliment or confession?" He shrugged. "Both. I'm not running for re-election." I smirked. "Didn't know dictators could quit." He waved and left. As the festival ended, I stood by the gate, Brutus in his bandana. Clara handed me a root beer. "Brutus for mayor?" she teased. I laughed. I'd moved to City Hall. Under the stars, my land breathed free, no broken fences, no bent rules, just bison, wind, and a town that finally knew where it belonged.